about, what was it, 2 weeks ago? No, more like, probably more like 4 weeks ago. Do you remember I went out on that bikepacking trip, Miss Coles?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and I went out on this bikepacking trip, a solo bikepacking trip, and I built up a steel, I guess it was a steel bikepacking bike. It's a gravel bike. It's, it's a road bike. If you put road tires on it, it's a gravel bike. You put gravel tires on it. And I built it up using a bunch of old parts I had laying around. And one of those old parts that I had laying around was a wheel set, a head wheel set. And that wheel set came with the head, front, and rear hubs. It was factory built, and it was on a bike that I scavenged parts from. The route that I was taking goes through the Los Padres National Forest, I believe. Anyway, it goes from like the central California, it's part of Big Sur, and it goes all the way down to Southern California. It goes down to Santa Barbara. And this route I was taking was a bikepacking route that was put together this year, new for this year. It starts in the northern part of Los Padres. It goes over what's called Arroyo Seco, up Indians Road into Big Sur. It takes the South Coast Ridge Road, which is a gravel road above Big Sur. It's in Big Sur, but it's like up on the ridge. And then you basically ride that gravel road all the way down to the coast at the southern end of Big Sur. And then you take the coast down to Cayucos, which then you cut up into, I guess, towards Santa Margarita on some more paved and gravel roads. And I didn't get to finish the route because my free hub body exploded on me. On the first day, it exploded on South Ridge Road on one of the final really steep climbs. That road is very steep. There's lots of ups and downs, and the pitches are steep. So they're not long climbs. You've already climbed to the ridge, but now you're just rolling along the top. And I blew up the rear free hub body, and at first it locked up the cassette. It literally would not freewheel. So I had to pedal as I was riding down these steep, loose gravel roads while braking and keeping the pedals turning, because if I didn't, then the chain would wrap up around the cassette, and I was worried I would rip the derailleur completely off the bike. And I needed to get down to the coast, down to Highway 1, so that I could ride to the first town and see if I could figure out how to fix my bike.
All right, so this is South Coast Ridge Road, and this is in Big Sur. On off to my right over here, you can see the Pacific Ocean. That nice, cool breeze is coming up over this mountain. You can see the wildflowers are blooming still. Here, it's kind of May 26th today, 2022. Wow, what a day. What a ride it's been so far. It's been about 50-50 pavement and dirt. The flowers are blooming. Lots of them are blooming. I was riding through quite a few yellow jacket hives, and they were hiving right in the road on Indians Road, and I kept thinking, uh-oh, I hope these aren't aggressive yellow jackets. But luckily I didn't get stung, so.
So I have a bit of a mechanical issue with the bike. Sorry, I'm waiting at the bus stop here. I'll tell you why in a second. So it's gonna be a little noisy. So I was pushing the bike up the hill, and the crank is just turning. When I got to the top of the hill, when I tried to descend down, it wouldn't free hub. So I had to pedal the bike while I was descending to keep the wheel turning so that the chain wouldn't wrap up. So somehow I lucked out. I made it down the hill, and this was from the very, very top. The very top of South Ridge Road, which is a gravel road. And I had to kind of pedal down this thing, and it's super steep. And anyway, I got all the way down to the bottom where you turn onto Highway 1, and I thought, well, I need to keep riding. I need to get to a place where there's a bike shop.
So I just got on the highway, and as long as I kept pedaling, everything was good. So I rode all the way to Cambria last night. And about halfway there, the free hub started to actually loosen up a little bit, and it started to free hub a little bit, and then it would hang up. So it would free hub and then it would hang up. And then the more I rode it, the better it got, and it actually started getting to the point where it felt almost normal. Almost. I was gonna say it felt normal, but it didn't quite feel normal, but almost normal. So I rode to Cambria and I looked for a bike shop, and I didn't see one there, and I saw one here in Atascadero called K-Man Cyclery. I looked them up last night, and they didn't open until 10, and it was around 8 p.m. there in Cambria. So I figured, you know what, let's just rent a hotel here. And then in the morning, I have to ride to Cayucos, then go up over Santa Rita Creek Road, go through Templeton, and then ride to Atascadero. And by that time, it should be around 10 and they should be opening up. So I got here, it was like 10:08. I called the guy and I said, can you please take a look at this? And he's like, oh, I'm really busy right now, I'm sorry. And I'm like, please, I'm on a tour. I'm totally afraid to go any further on this bike out into Carrizo Plain with a free hub that might be questionable. He's like, well, bring it by, and if it looks like there's something simple, I'll take a look at it. If it's not, you know, sorry. So anyway, he pulled it apart, and that's how we discovered the piece that's cracked in there. He does not have any Campy free hub bodies in his shop. He doesn't have any Shimano free hub bodies that will work. This is a head hub, doesn't have any parts. So he called around some shops here, Cambria Bike Center, I think, and a place in San Luis Obispo. And he found a guy down in San Luis Obispo who's a Campy specialist, and he called him and he said he thinks he has the correct free hub. So what I'm doing is I am sitting here at this bus stop, and I am going to go down to San Luis Obispo to meet this guy and see if he can fix my free hub.
And he sent me to a bike shop down in San Luis Obispo where the guys there work on a lot of used stuff. So he thought he might have a hub or a free hub body that would fit on my hub, which would help me get going again. So it was kind of a last resort, last option. I decided to give it a try, and I ended up going down there, and I spent the whole rest of the day there.
Okay, well, we might have a solution here. Uh-oh. It's just tight. There it goes.
I might need a mallet.
Looks like it's going on though.
Yeah, that last step, maybe I just measured the inner bearing.
So it looks like we found a workable solution. We're running into some spacer issues because the axle on that hub is oversized, and most of the free hub bodies have a smaller diameter axle. And so what he's trying to do is make a spacer so that where the free hub goes into the hub, it doesn't get too close to the other bearing that's on the inside and then cause it to rub. So he's looking around to shop for a spacer, and if he doesn't find one, he's going to make one out of a bearing. He can actually cut it and file it down and make it the right thickness. So anyway, I don't know. This will be a miracle if it works. It's getting a little late now. It's 1:40.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. The mallet?
Just the end cap.
Oh. Does it feel smoother than it did before?
Well, we won't know till we tighten it.
I see. Then you get some
Cinch the
tension
whole
on
thing,
there.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, let's see if we've re-engineered the hub.
Almost.
No, not quite.
Not quite. I guess we need to cut a little more edge on it.
So it's probably rubbing against.
Better, but it's rubbing a little still.
Okay.
Somewhere. It's much better though.
And the other thing that's really interesting is how many different size bearings and axles and the engagement where the pawls engage into the hub, just all the different designs and styles. They're all proprietary. And he has a box full of different hubs, free hubs, that he's been looking through to find all the parts and the little bits and pieces to get this to work. So it's really, you know, if you have when a mechanical problem like this happens, you're screwed. Better? Whoa.
Good. Alright, man.
Yeah?
You gotta try it now.
Okay.
We'll check it on the bike once we do the wheels on.
Okay. All right, it's now July 8th, and we are skipping ahead. I have already finished the Oregon Outback bike tour. I did that after I did the Los Padres, or at least attempted to do the Los Padres. So I wanted to skip ahead and kind of update everyone on what happened and show you the new wheel. I rebuilt this rear wheel and I picked up a new hub. So that day at the bike shop down in San Luis Obispo, after we did the spin test by hand, everything was looking pretty good. Once we put it back on the bike and we adjusted the derailleur, I took it around for a quick spin around the block. And unfortunately, there was still something dragging a little bit. And so the chain, if you were freewheeling, the chain would get slack. And I was a little concerned about taking that bike on for the rest of the trip, not knowing if I would have a potential problem out on some rough trails or rocky roads or gravel. I didn't want to end up on the side of the road with the chain wrapped around and the derailleur ripped off of the bike, especially going out into a very remote part of the state. So it was a tough call, but I decided then that it was probably better to just cut my losses there. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon. Do you feel like your safety is in jeopardy?
You know what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I do this all the time.
Okay.
Oh! Okay.
The rim. That's the one.
Okay. So what's holding this wheel up?
Well, the rim does feel a little wobblier. A little softer, I think.
So your question is, what if we rotate this? Look what happens.
Oh, wow.
See?
Wow, that just proved it.
Yep. Doesn't hold any weight.
Wow, that's amazing.
So